Greetings and salutations, guys. Welcome to my next show, a more personal show. Over the past 9 weeks, I have brought guests on to tell their life stories for you all. But today I thought that I would tell you my story. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you gain some inspiration or not. Anyway, let us begin. I was born on November 13th, 1991, on a Wednesday at 4:30 in the morning. After my mom gave birth, as what most parents do, they take their child home. After 3 days of being home, I got sick. Now I want to point out there are various stories to how I got to the hospital. It could have been 3 days, 2 days, no one knows, but we're going to stick with 3. So after 3 days of being at home, I went to the hospital, and that is where, over a span of time, the doctors told my family of all the medical issues that I was going to have. In fact, I heard one of the doctors actually say she may not make it past 5. She may not make it past tonight. After the doctors told my family all of the medical issues that I would have, my mother being a 16-year-old young woman, I guess it was too much for her to handle, and from what I've heard, she bounced. Because my mom left, there was no one else that could take care of me. Yes, I had other family members, but they were either sickly or overwhelmed with the amount of medical issues that I had and didn't want any parts of it. That's not to say they're bad people, that's just saying the reality of the situation. Now, because of this, they were forced to put me into foster care. Now, most kids go into a home or they go into a group home. Because my medical issues were so severe, I had to stay in the hospital. Once they were able to get me stabilized, my family was still nowhere to be found or did not want to take me, and they were going to put me in a group home. The issue was there were no medical group homes in my area at that time. So I spent the first 2.5 years of my life in the hospital. Now, I think it was in '93 that they had built a medical group home, and I was going to be one of their first patients, and that's how it was going to go. But in the span of me being in the hospital, there was a respiratory therapist that apparently fell in love with me. And when she found out I was going to go into a group home, she convinced her family to become foster parents so that I would not have to go in. She said she thought I had too much potential and that I would get lost in the sauce in a group home. And just a side note, later on in life, I am so grateful that she saved me, because I've seen kids who've come out from group homes, and I'm not saying they're bad or anything, I'm just saying you can really see a difference between constant love and people always rotating in and out of their lives. So thanks, Mom, for taking me in. Thanks the whole family. So everything was going well, I settled in, and then my mother decided to come back into the picture. I really don't know why, to be honest with you. I personally think it was because she found out I was getting a disability check, and she knew that could help her and the family out of the situation. We're not sure. Anyway, she started telling the courts and my social worker that she wanted me back in her life. And because she said this, the judge appointed her visitation. And because I was so sick, she would either come to my house or I would go, it started out with me going to a facility to see her, and then if things improved, I would go to her house until everything was weaned to the point where I was with her permanently. Now, the issue is that my mom would only do just enough to say she wanted me, be able to collect that check, and I don't know, do whatever she did with it. Now, while all of this is going on, I'm starting to feel insignificant. I'm starting to feel like she doesn't love me. Yeah, I had my foster family. They were great. They never treated me any different. But there's still some connection, I think, between mothers and kids that's very important. And though I have all the love in the world, I don't think I felt that way because I wanted her to love me. So all of this back and forth between custody and whether she wanted me spanned for 6 years. So from the time I was 5 years old, when I started doing visits, to when I was 11, she played around for that whole time, and I just collected her check and did whatever she wanted with it. And during these 6 years, I began to hate myself more and more because I truly felt like if she doesn't love me, no one else is gonna love me. So I was depressed. I just didn't know what depression was. Now the next stage of my life, between 8 on, is when I think my life changed for the good and the bad. When I was 8 years old, my foster family wanted to move to another state. They were going to take me with them. They said they wanted to adopt me, and I don't know why, but my mom said she wanted me, and the courts stopped the whole adoption process, which I can't figure out. If for 6+ years, or by this time it had only been 3. If 3+ years you haven't shown any interest in your child and you do just enough, why wouldn't you grant the foster family, if they want to, the option to adopt said child? God had another plan for me, I suppose. So the cool thing is, the second foster home that I was in was the home of one of the nurses that used to take care of me while I was in the home of my first foster family. She took me in, and this is not taken away from my first adopted family, but I think emotionally they were a little too passive, where my new adopted mother was and still is a bulldog. She doesn't let anything get in her way, and she'll tell you off if she feels right. And she called my biological mom out on her BS and said, you either step up and do what you're supposed to do, or I'm going to take her, or something along the lines of that. She let my mom know that I'm not trying to take your kid from you, but at the same time, I'm tired of seeing my daughter go to your house, you not be there, and then she comes back with issues. Because by the time I would get back, I'd have emotional issues, I would be a little testy and snippy, and by the time my mom got those sorted out, it was time for me to go back. And if my mom wasn't there, it's like we're back at square one. Anyway, my mom said, no, I want her, and long story short, she didn't want me. I actually took it upon myself at age 11 to stop visits. I felt like they were doing nothing, and I was tired of getting hurt over and over again, and I was tired of her profiting off of me and not doing anything with that money towards me. So I talked it over with my foster mother at the time. I said I didn't want to go over there anymore, and she said, cool. Told my social worker that I wanted my foster mother to adopt me, and the process started rolling. Now from 11 to 14, things got better. I was a lot happier because there was none of that negativity in my life. And I was great. When I turned 14 is when I got adopted. I took 3 years. I don't know all of the reasons why, but I know they had to take the rights away from my mom, which was another court thing. Then they had to, I don't know. It just took 3 years, and in between that time, I also had back surgery, which held up a lot of things as well. So 3 years after I said it, I was adopted. and my life was pretty great. My life was great before I got adopted, and I don't know what to tell you. Life was awesome up until I got to college. Throughout my life, my adopted mom, her name's Gwen, Gwen kept telling me, you have a lot of baggage. You have to let that go. I never let it go, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was becoming more and more unhappy. I didn't think I was unhappy, but I was. And it wasn't until college hit that I felt completely alone. I wasn't with my family. I wasn't with the people that I had known for all of my life. I felt completely and utterly alone. And that's when I think the depression kicked in. I wanted to kill myself. I was crying all the time. I had great friends at college, but I still felt lonely because, like Gwen said, I hadn't let go of all that baggage that was still inside of me. And it took me way down emotionally. I started emotionally eating. I started not bathing. And this was over the course of 5 years. So I went from this peppy, awesome, energetic person who was ready for life to someone who ate and slept and shit in that order. I'm going to put a picture right here so you can see how much I ballooned to. It will be somewhere over there. Good news is I've lost weight, as you can see, since then. Anyway, it wasn't until 5 years into my depression that my mom finally catch on, because I wasn't really being completely honest with her. I wasn't coming home, and finally she saw me for the first time, and she was shocked at how much weight I had gained. She was floored, and she helped me get on the right path. It took some time. It took a lot of encouragement. I dropped out of school. I moved back home. And she really had to set me straight and be like, what you're doing to yourself is unhealthy. No one wants to be around you because you smell. No one wants to be around you because of how big you are, which was true. And we gotta get it together. So she helped jumpstart things back in order. I got back on my antidepressants. I didn't say I was on antidepressants, and then I stopped taking them after a while because I think subconsciously I knew if I didn't take them, I would want to kill myself, and I think that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get all those negative thoughts back in my head so I would have the courage, or as I thought, it's not courage. Suicide is not a good thing. The courage to do it. But I got back on my medication. I started losing weight, and then I started seeing a therapist consistently. And I can honestly say life has turned out for the better. But the biggest lesson and the biggest thing that has helped in my ongoing, hopefully, success and just being happy-go-lucky is because I finally let go of the baggage of my past. I did not realize how much it was weighing on me because I had been carrying it for so long. And once I let that go, man, I felt like, and continue to feel like, I can do anything. And I owe so much thank you and gratitude to my mom and God and everybody who's helped me get to where I am. That's why I do this podcast. I want people to be on with me who have been through stuff. I want to know that in spite of what has happened, I turned out this way for the better. All those odds that were stacked against me don't matter. I'm going to do what I have to do to get where I want to go. And that's what I'm most passionate about. And that's why I did this personal episode with you guys, is because I wanted you to see why I had switched up my channel, why it's just a one-on-one with someone else. I want to know your story. So if any of you are out there who like this episode, like all the past episodes I've done, and you want to come on and tell your story, I'd love for you to comment below. Leave me an email, and we can see how we can work it out through Skype. If you're ever in my area, we can do it at my office. Let me know. But the point is, I want to face adversity one interview at a time. And with that, I'm going to end this episode. If you have any other questions about my life, I didn't say everything because putting 27 years into a shorter video is a lot, and there are just some things that don't need to be said. Anyway, with that being said, thank you so much for watching this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, follow me on all my social medias, and consider becoming a patron on patreon.com. All the links to everything I've said are in the description below. Have a wonderful day, and God bless. Goodbye.